Then more on the business side, and then I'll throw it over to Joanna, is we're, of course, a nonprofit. We're the only nonprofit hospice care residence in LA County. We opened in 2016. Joanna mentioned have seen over 700 people since then. We're very unique set up that way. So no one's turned away for inability to pay, which goes back to that underserved and underrepresented thing, which I'm sure we'll get to. So it's on a sliding scale. And that's very important to us. We want to make sure that people can experience our motto at Caring House is peace at the end of life.
We all are gonna die. 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 Why don't we help each other prepare for it? Without death there cannot be life. I'm talking about end of life conversations, conversations about the end of life. Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Hey, everybody, we want to interrupt this episode to ask for some help.
Yes, indeed. We would like to add value to our podcast for you, our beloved community, as we move into our third
How
year
cool is
of
that?
being here.
30 years. Yeah.
3 years.
Just starting our third year. We're very excited about that. So we really do. We want to add some value. And we'd love to have as many as possible of you go to our podcast notes and click on the link to take just a few minutes to do a survey for us and tell us what would make it more valuable for you. So we look
Yeah,
forward to hearing from you.
and don't hesitate. Whatever is on your heart, there's a little space there that you can add your thoughts about what you'd like to hear more about. Maybe, even if it's books or music, whatever, just
Yeah.
let us know because we are here to in support of you,
Yeah.
our listeners. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And now back to our regularly scheduled program.
Thank you. Welcome, friends. We're so glad to be here again with you. I am the Reverend David Matthews. On today's episode, we'll have the privilege really to learn more about an organization called Caring House, who reached out to us a couple weeks ago. David Zartman is one of our guests. He is their executive director and director of community engagement. He came to Caring House in July of 2023. He had spent the last 18 years as a successful entrepreneur, but he's really focusing now on bringing support for Caring House and the hospice care realm in general via grants, donations, thought leadership, educational awareness, and outreach to underserved, good point, underserved and underrepresented communities, which is really excellent. We're really pleased about that. We've been talking a lot about that recently. So want to hear more about this. Thanks so much for being with
Sure.
us.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to this.
Yes. And I am the Reverend Mother Ana Luisa Armendariz. And we'll also have the pleasure of having Joanna Franco with us. She is Caring House's resident care manager and director of program services. Joanna joined the Caring House team as resident care manager in June, bringing with her more than 15 years of experience as both a caregiver and a resident care coordinator and manager. This wealth of experience, along with her positive attitude and compassionate nature, has helped Caring House grow its legacy so they can help more residents, support more families, engage with more volunteers, and continue to build a team of compassionate caregivers. These folks make the Caring House feel like home.
Mhm.
During her first 6 months, Joanna worked to create an environment where everyone supports one another toward a common goal, that being a peaceful and compassionate space for all who enter. Oh, thank you, Joanna.
Mm.
We should all be having that as a mission for our lives.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
We got to
Mhm.
have a Caring House in every city right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We
Mhm.
like to start our podcasts as we do. I was telling Joanna earlier, we kind of have a container of questions we usually ask everybody. But mostly we want to hear your story and hear about Caring House. And so feel free to just riff if you want, and we will kind of just let it flow. We do like to
Mhm.
kind of get a personal look at how this, how you came into this work by just finding out from each of you when you first became aware of death in your own lives. So maybe we could start with Joanna.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you for having us on today. Um, I'll share my story about how I came about Caring House because it's something I've shared with my family as well. Not a lot of people are comfortable with death and dying, so coming to Caring House was they were very nervous for me. Even my parents were like, how are you going to be able to handle that? You're so anxious, about medical diagnosis and things like that. And I said, well, I don't know, it's different there.
Mm,
I'm going to try it out. So it was during COVID that I was working as an office manager in a office in Manhattan Beach, and I kept feeling like I wasn't doing enough. Like, how can I do more? How can I help other people? My daughters are growing. I felt stuck
mm,
where I was. And so I happened to just one day look up for a new job, and I was just looking on, I don't know what it was, either Indeed or something, and the ad for Caring House opened up.
mm,
And the way they described it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's for me. I need to apply there." And I did out of the whim, and sure enough, I interviewed a couple days later, and within a week, I was offered the position.
mm.
Knowing anything about Caring House and how it started, but it just felt that this is where I needed to be, and the staff here that had been here since day 1 were so welcoming and caring and had such a passion about what they were doing that I was like, "Oh, I need that." Like, this is where I need to be
Aw,
because I need that.
beautiful.
Uh, yes, I came about, after the first month, I did question myself if I was in the right place,
Mm,
Mm,
because we see over at least 8 to 10 passings per month.
wow.
mhm,
And so I was kind of like taking it home. Like,
Mhm,
I would be here present, but then I would go home and once things quiet down, I could see,
mm,
that means we have 10 families that are grieving, 10
mm,
families that need support. And we're just constantly, sharing with them, sharing a meal with them, a conversation. And so I would take that home at night
mm,
and okay, maybe this is too much. But what kept me going was I kept
mm,
coming back every day, and the team here would open the door and welcome me, and was
mm,
so happy to see me every single day that at some point I would ask them, like, "Don't you guys have bad days?" Like,
mhm,
"What type of place is this that you guys are always happy and ready to go?" And Sandra, who now passed away last year November, she said to me one day, like, "No," she said, "we can't bring anything from outside into this house of peace."
mm.
She
mhm,
Wow.
We can't have bad days when we're healthy and we're working. So we should every day is a good day. Every day we wake up is a good day.
Wow.
mhm,
And that light up something in me.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
since then, my whole life has changed being at Caring House. I'm just a more happy, positive person and grateful to be living and to be healthy and to be able to come to work and
mhm.
help these families and residents.
Nice, beautiful. Thank you.
Aw,
Yeah,
Yeah,
very sweet. Thank you.
I want to hear that. But yeah, I'm so grateful to be here and to be an honor to be able to care for these residents.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, thank you, Joanna. David, did you have an experience in your life where you first, like, noticed that death was a thing? Or maybe you wanna, again, like Joanna, speak more to how you ended up there or both. You're welcome to talk about both.
Well, it's really an interesting question because oddly enough, and it'd be really interesting to unpack this, offline somewhere else. One of my distinct and rare memories of my very early life, and by that I mean, from like 1 to 6,
Mm,
as it were, is I do distinctly remember becoming aware one day of this concept of
mm,
dying.
mm,
It was
mhm,
absolutely terrifying. And what I did, I remember laying in bed almost crying and then singing happy birthday to you over and over again
aw,
because I
Yeah.
equated that with a uh,
mhm,
happy attitude and a happy moment. So I'm lying there in bed in the dark in Cupertino, California, singing happy birthday to you, trying to get over this thought of this concept of death.
mhm.
mhm,
My parents, bless their hearts, were not really attuned to discussions and that sort of thing. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And so, I have obviously moved past that somewhat, obviously, but that was my first memory of whoa, this whole death thing
mhm,
is
Mhm,
scary, at
mhm.
least as to a child.
mhm,
Yeah.
Later, fast forward, many years, And what brought me to Caring House, to your question, is as you'd mentioned in the intro, and thank you for the lovely intro, both of you. I'd spent 18 years. I'd started my own company. It was a media company, and grew it from seed to scale. It was very successful, and I was actually living in Spain, of all places, with my family, and just it's like, I'm not getting enough personal. Um, I'm no longer getting. I'm not feeling I'm contributing to the world.
Mhm.
I need to do something more, because I was specifically, it was about vehicles and cars and mobility and transportation. I'm like, this isn't doing anything for me and for the world. And my wife is an LCSW, and I'd seen how much joy that gave her helping clients and people like that. So to wrap this up as quickly as possible, I went back to school. I got an MBA with the goal of getting into a more human centric, a more human facing role.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure what it was yet, but I knew I wanted to do something that moved that needle for the community, for this world. And I was thinking about the environment and schools and education, that sort of thing. And then, kind of like Joanna, oddly enough, I'm not sure if it's truly the description of Kismet, but it popped up. It's like 2 miles away. And if you know LA, having a job 2 miles away is unheard of.
Right.
I mean, you're always driving, and usually you drive an hour to get somewhere, it seems like,
Mhm.
right? Obviously, Ana Luisa, you recognize that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But
no.
Yeah.
oh my word, it's just it's so soul crushing. It's like, okay, it's already 2 miles away. Go down there, and I think Joanna nailed it. Like, walked in. I mean, it's a house,
Mm.
right? It's literally a house. Already
Mhm.
got the warm vibes. Sandra was there then, bless her heart too. Made me feel welcome. Interviewed, and just thought, I can do something here. And kind of like Joanna, I wasn't, of course, sure. I didn't know what I didn't know, to use that sort of cliche line.
Mhm.
But I knew I wanted to come in here, and I saw the cards on the wall, which we can touch on later, of people who were thanking the staff
Mhm.
for the care and the love and the empathy. Anyway, I saw that. I love what I was seeing. I loved how it made me feel like, here's where I can do that 1% a day for
Mhm.
the community, and
Mhm.
especially with people who are grieving and dying or transitioning and that sort of thing. And that's it. And that's changed me ever since. And I've been here for almost what has it been? 2.5 years now.
Mm. Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, we want to
Mhm.
hear more about that. I just want to note that in the Sufi practice, which
Mm.
I practice, the death is considered a birthday.
Oh
Mhm.
yes.
So you were doing
Hmm.
you were tapping into that
Yeah.
at a young
And you
age.
know what? I want to run on that for 2 seconds. I can't believe you said that. And you know what? I should have. We can save this for the end, because you said you wanted a quotation, but I just have to say it before I forget. There's a great Sufi poem. I think it's all of 3 lines. It goes like this, and it speaks to death. The desert is a true treasure for those who seek refuge from men and the evils of men. In it is contentment. In it is death and all you seek.
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely love that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I
too.
remember reading that and memorizing it on the spot,
yeah.
Yeah.
They think of it
right?
as a marriage. I think that's more specifically what they think of it. You know, you're being
Interesting.
remarried to the
Yeah.
divine.
Interesting. Yeah,
I'm so
yeah, yeah.
excited.
So singing happy
Love it.
birthday is very appropriate.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, right. Okay, good. Yeah.
So, both of you have, I think I'm going to ask you, how has death impacted your day to day, right? Because you're working in a place where 8 to 10 deaths occur every month. And for some folks, and Joanna, you talked about, the first few weeks, months, like it was like, whoa. Um, so how does death impact it? And your day to day, like you go home and you're living this life and you talk about this wonderful place. Like, tell me more about death.
I think what it's impacted me the most is I've learned so much about death. So to
Mm.
me, death since I was a child has been scary. Like
Mm.
I still now people think because I work here and I see so much, oh, you must be so in tune and and you're okay with dying. I'm like, no, I still don't want to die.
Huh.
Like that's where I am. And so um, the way that it's changed me is, especially education, death is going to happen, right? And that there's no death is the same. I think I always say we've seen here at Caring House over 700 residents at this, by now.
Mm,
I can guarantee you, even if it's the same diagnosis and the same
Mm.
age gap, no death is the
yeah.
same.
Right.
The experience is not the same. Every single resident is totally different. We have residents that spend, 3 months here. We have residents that only spend a couple hours here.
Mhm.
It's still very, emotional for everyone, and it's someone leaving us, so it's different. I've gotten my family involved, my daughters, my children, they're very much a part of Caring House with
Mhm.
me, and I think that helps me feel like we're doing something good. I think they see mom's doing something that she loves and mom's doing something for others.
Community. Yep.
The giving, the part of giving, and they're learning about that as well, I think. So
That's great. That's so
so
important.
it
Mhm.
doesn't I think it's made me a much less anxious and scared person
Mhm.
more than
Oh,
anything.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's changed my life completely
Mm.
from, 5 years ago to now. I'm a total different person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really think that's so valuable too because the anxiety in our world right now is like it's all the buttons are being pushed, right? But at the end of the day, guess what we have to look forward to? Birthday. Like it's coming for all of us. We all get to share in that. So I think that's really wonderful.
Yeah, and the fact that
Yeah.
you're sharing it with your children is something we talk about a lot on this podcast, is
Yeah.
how important it is
Uh,
not to hide it and create stigma around it for everyone, no
th
matter how old, because it
Mhm.
I'll share a really quick, story that it just happened to us, a couple of months ago. We had a young mom come into Caring House. She was, like, 42 years old, 3 children, 9, 16, and a 20-year-old. And so anytime someone that age comes that we see ourselves in there, it's a little bit harder, even for the staff. We do it with more love,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, we'll share a tear or we'll share, our feelings about, wow, that could have been me and, her kids. And so she passed away a couple months ago, but just recently, my daughter, who's 9 years old, I picked her up from school and she was really happy to tell me that her friend knows me.
Hmm.
And I said, your friend she knows you from work. She knows Caring House, and she knows everyone there. She knows Tracy. She knows Monica. She's been in the garden. And I thought, well, maybe someone that's worked here. And I said, oh, okay. What's her name? Oh, she wrote it in a piece of paper for you here.
Hmm.
And her mom was one of our residents here.
Wow.
So I thought, "Oh my goodness, does Daniela know her mom
Mhm.
had passed away?" And I said, "Oh, Daniela, that means her mom passed away.
Hmm.
Did you know that?" And she said, "Yes." She said her mom had cancer,
Mm.
and you guys took care of her.
Wow.
And it broke my heart for a moment, and I said, "Oh, and I'm sorry. Are you okay?"
Hmm.
And said, "Yes." She's like, "Yes, mom." She's like, "Andrea's happy,
Hmm.
and we wanna set up a play date at Caring House." They want here.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yes.
I
And
love
then I thought, wow, like, the impact we made into this little girl that lost her mom, and
that.
she's still out there living, and
Mhm.
she's happy, and she's happy she has a happy memory about
Mhm.
us. It's not so much about her mom's death
Mhm.
and the cancer that took her. She has a good memory where she wants to come back here.
Mm.
And that there teaches me too about teaching my kids, we're not always gonna be here, but we have to keep going, and life is beautiful, and we have to learn from our experiences here.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's where it's changed me too, I think,
Mhm.
because I was the mom that would hide everything that was scary or we didn't know about. So, everything's beautiful, and it's not really like that out there in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm grateful that I had the opportunity here, and my daughters seem to accept it very well as
That's
well.
sweet. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah.
So David, how does death impact you?
It's powerful. A lot of ways. I'll start personal. So both of my parents are still with us, but they are ailing in the extreme. One has advanced Alzheimer's, my mother, and my father has a list of serious issues that yeah, I'm frankly amazed he's still alive, and is actually in the hospital as I speak,
Mm.
with severe sepsis and
Mhm.
heart failure and many other things. So there's the personal side,
Yeah.
and in
Mhm.
an odd way of timing, being at Caring House yes, as a director, but someone who walks the halls regularly and checks in on patients and has conversations with them from time to time. Um, has done a lot for me just seeing and thinking about my own personal side. But then at work, I don't have that luxury per se, but it does give me a little bit more feeling understanding for people,
Mhm.
is that
Mhm.
you can walk just the tiniest bit in the shoes of people who are pre-grieving,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
example, who are thinking about it. Joanna made a great statement about her kids. You know, my youngest daughter is 11. Um, she sang for one of our people who was dying, came in and sang to her
Mhm.
and did that several times and asked later, "Hey, is she gone?" And yes, and such. And so what I'm seeing is now as it's getting closer to my own parents passing away, she still asks me about that, but she's not quite the same way
Mhm.
in terms of fear or just breaking down about the thought that, you know, grandma and grandpa are going to be passing away soon and that kind of thing. So it's been positive in that sense. Also, it's affected me because I do conversate with people as is appropriate, and you know, one of them was a 104-year-old man who was a lovely gentleman and would play the harmonica and you know, for the first few days he could ambulate around a bit and he'd eat ice cream, and so it was just great talking to him, and it was lovely and his family was lovely, and then the next morning he was gone.
Mm. Mhm.
And that's one of those moments where it's just a bit of a check, isn't it? It's like, I left last night at 5:30 and said goodbye, and it's great chatting with you. And you come in the morning and you have to you have to remember that this life is transient to the point where it's just here and then it's not. And
Mhm.
that's what I often stop and think about is,
Mhm.
you know, are we living our best lives? Are we helping people more than hurting people? Are
Mhm.
we, in terms of work, am I connecting with people? Am I helping with their grieving process and that
Mhm.
sort of thing? And so for me, it's been a very 360-degree thing that really affects me every day. And I try to stay attuned to that. I try to
Yeah.
stay very open and present to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. Well, David, maybe you could speak a little bit to just to kind of let our audience know more about Caring House and what it does, how it works. How do people get in touch with you? And is it like a hospice space, or just kind of explain more to
Sure.
folks how that works and the kind of the
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question. So, in brief, it is literally a residential house on a street in Torrance, California.
Mm.
From the outside, you would have no indication that it was a hospice, a residence that takes care of hospice care patients.
Mhm.
In California, it's called an RCFE, Residential Care Facility for the Elderly,
Mm.
which, without going too deep into the weeds, and we can throw it to Joanna in a moment, but very briefly and concisely, that just means that it's licensed a certain way. And one of the main aspects of our licensing, if not the only one, is that we're non-medical facility.
Mhm.
So we don't do medical procedures here and that sort of thing. It's truly a place where you're coming for the end of life, and so
Mhm.
yes, medications, obviously, things like that, oxygen, things like that, but there's no feeding tubes, right?
Mhm.
And things like that. So that's, and of course the house has been custom built for that purpose. So it has the things required by licensing, which are, you know, fire suppression and many other things. We have 6 rooms.
Mhm.
They're all private. And then we're bespoke. And what I mean by that is, and we're very proud of this, and it's a big part of who we are, is that uh, everything is what the resident and their families want and need at whatever time they want and need.
Mm.
I often say this, but I'll just repeat it here. We are not a sort of place where, all right, everyone, breakfast is at 8, lunch is at 1, and dinner's at 6.
Mm.
That's it. And it's going to be cereal, sandwich, and chicken.
Mhm.
We ask them as much as is possible, what would you like? When would you like it? And if they want buttered toast at 2 in the morning, or if they want hazelnut mint ice cream, we're going to get that for them. We will cook for them. Our caregivers cook for them, that sort of thing. Then more on the business side, and then I'll throw it over to Joanna, is we're, of course, a nonprofit.
Mhm.
We're the only nonprofit hospice care residence in LA County. We
Wow.
opened in 2016. And
Huh.
as Joanna mentioned, have seen over 700 people since then. We're
Mhm.
very unique set up that way. So no one's turned away for inability to pay, which goes back to that underserved and underrepresented thing, which I'm sure we'll get to. So it's on a sliding scale.
Mm.
And that's very important to us. We want to make sure that people can experience our motto at Caring House is peace at the end of life.
Mhm.
And that's for both the caregivers, sorry, the residents and their caregivers, meaning their family.
Okay.
I might throw it over to Joanna as director of operations. I probably left out a few things, or if you don't mind, can I throw it to Joanna because she's
Absolutely.
really the,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, over
Yes,
there.
it just to so we have 6 rooms, 6 residents at a time, 6 families in the house, and like David said, it's all about them and surrounding them with, love and making sure that they're comfortable, that they're not stressed about anything that's logistic. We let them know that we're gonna take over now, and you guys will just sit here and enjoy your loved ones and
Mhm.
talk to them and hug on them, um, for as long as they want. We're very, flexible with visiting hours. They always say I used to play good cop, bad cop with Sandra because there is rules to the house. Someone would come ask me, I'm always more like, "Yeah, you could bring your dog at 2 AM and we'll sneak him in so he can spend some time with you." Where Sandra would say, "Oh, let's just wait till after 7," but we love what we do, and we wanna make sure that they don't have any other stress other than, they're already grieving and have a lot of very overwhelming questions and decisions they have to make. We wanna make sure that we take over everything else for them. And all the staff here and the volunteers are the same way.
Mhm.
They very passionate about what we do and want to make sure that we do a good job while they're here and that they leave here feeling like they don't have to worry about their loved one being cared for or being, attended to while they're not here. They can go home and actually take a nap or eat a meal and not have to worry that they have to be here at bedside making sure that someone's taking care of them.
Sweet. Beautiful.
So I really love it. It sounds like concierge, death house, right?
Right. Yeah.
In a way, it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, chocolate mint ice cream, please," it's my last
Mhm.
food. I love that.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
I'm really curious, it's a nonprofit, so how do you do your funding then? Because do you accept Medicaid or, like, how do you fund it?
Yeah.
You
Great.
Especially
want to start on Joanna? You want to start on that, like on the insurance side, and I can talk about the
Yeah,
yeah.
other
I
side.
can.
Sure.
So because we are non-medical, there is no funding through Medicaid or Medi-Cal
Mm.
or any type of medical insurance.
Mhm.
The only type of insurance they could potentially use is long-term care, which that stopped happening a long time ago. But there is some residents that have it, once in a while. But other than that, it's not covered through any type of medical insurance.
Okay,
So it's all private pay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's private pay, on a sliding scale based on your ability to pay. As mentioned,
Mhm,
no one's turned away for lack of ability to pay.
mhm.
There is some due diligence on that. We're not just, open to just, oral statements. We do ask to see a little due diligence, but essentially no one's turned away. And then, yes, to your point, Annalisa, it does require, and this is kind of where I step in for the most part, although we act as a team. We're actively applying for the usual things, the
Yeah,
foundation grants. We do
okay.
events like we're doing this fantastic coffee tasting
Hmm.
fundraiser that we're going to do here next Saturday. We just had what we call the barbecue by the bay,
Hmm.
where we have a big barbecue with the silent auction and this sort of thing. We have winter appeals and et cetera. So we are
Okay.
actively fundraising because yes, it is expensive
Yes.
for everything, as you
Yeah.
both well know,
Yeah.
and especially in California, I dare
Oh my
say,
God.
unfortunately, just for all the licensing and the cost. I mean, just our electricity bill, right?
Right.
What some people,
It's like, the list is, like, going through my head right now. I'm like,
Whoa.
"Wow."
yeah, and that list has like the sub list to it of like
Yeah.
our licensing requires that the temperature of the house never deviate between two different levels. It
Wow.
has to be in here. So either typically, not always, but being California,
Hmm.
typically either the AC is on
Mm-hmm.
or the heat is on. I
Right.
mean, not always, but like somehow money is being spent to make
Yeah.
sure, which is fine. That's what we do. But yes, so there's a lot of costs. And so we do need and ask for money regularly. It's obviously not the funnest and loveliest part of the job. And what we
Mhm,
try to tell people to wrap this side up real quickly is we're literally a community partner and community service to everyone in this community.
Mm-hmm.
mhm, mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for you to do things. We're nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
No
That's right.
one's enriching themselves. No one wants to enrich themselves, but we're helping with this conversation of death
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. How
and
many
and that
people are
process.
on staff at any given
Um,
time?
a total of 12, I would say, including David, Matthew, and I.
Mhm.
So caregivers. Right now, we're about 9 caregivers. We are looking to hire a couple more just to have extras for the holidays.
Mhm.
Um, People want to take time off. Um, but yes, it's a small team. So but I wanted to add to that as well with the finances is that, not everyone's prepared for death or to get a terminal diagnosis.
Sure.
We don't plan for it. So it catches a lot of families off guard when they go into a routine checkup and now they're telling you you're going to pass away and you need 24-hour care at home.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
families struggle to come up with that money. So most of the times it's their husband or wife taking care of the patient or their neighbors coming over to help or, their daughter. And so it's sometimes the elderly mother caring for her daughter that has breast cancer and now they're going on hospice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so they can't afford care and it's a really uh, life changing for them to come here and for us to say, you know what, we're going to take over. And so many times I just see, their expression and just that relief of, "Are you sure, you're not asking me for,
Mhm.
$20,000 for this?" And it's like, We're gonna take care of you and we'll
Mm.
figure it out."
Wow.
And, after they've heard no, no, no so
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and this might be a really good place to actually let our listeners know about, again, about hospice, right? So when folks get into hospice, you generally get, assigned a nurse, a social worker, a chaplain. What else do you get? Um,
Care.
like
Home care.
motion
Yeah.
home care,
Yeah.
right? But
staff need, like, a couple times a week.
Mhm.
but the general piece is, like, you're doing the heavy lift at home with your loved one, right?
Yeah.
And so what it sounds like for you, it's like it really truly sounds like a family setting for folks who need care, and hospice will probably not it will be underserving that patient, right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It is very hard when your loved one is really sick, you have kids or a job, and, what do you do about these extraneous aspects of care that you really actually don't know how to do or don't have the time to provide? So this does sound like the family shows up.
Yeah, yeah. It also
Yeah,
sounds to me like something that there's probably nowhere near enough resource.
absolutely. I mean, it breaks my heart sometimes when we have to turn someone away
Yeah.
and I know I can hear it in their voice, like they're about to, hit a wall because they're just exhausted
Yeah.
and
Mm.
don't know what to do anymore. And, they're scared because their loved one's breathing has changed and they don't have the experience of what to do now. And
Right.
hospice can't send a nurse till maybe 8 hours later,
Yeah.
and so it's the need is out there.
Yeah. Really
Absolutely.
so needed.
Because, every day someone is getting a terrible
Uh-huh.
diagnosis, every day someone's dying. And so we
Yeah.
do the best we can, one resident at a time here.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that.
I love it. So what are some of the big challenges that you face, that you encounter?
We already talked about
Um,
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money is a big one.
I'm glad David worries about the money the most. I pretend like I don't see the bills, and we keep ordering steaks for our residents once in a while, but, I think the challenges are, I would say, maybe, the grief of the families, the acceptance, denial, um,
Mm.
things like that. I think it's where we struggle a little bit when families are still very much in denial.
Mhm.
Uh, Hospice is designed the way they present it is you have a prognosis of 6 months or less, and that's how you qualify for
Yeah.
hospice.
Right.
Caring House, our mission is to provide the care at the very end. So it's for someone that's already going to start to decline or transition. And then maybe their loved one doesn't want them to pass away at home because they live there, they have kids in the house, and they don't want their see their parent die at home. So they come at that very end stage
Mhm.
when someone already bedbound. And so many times I have families that come here from the hospital, and the hospital has said, "Oh, your loved one has 6 months or less." But they'll come here and they'll pass away within a couple weeks.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And like, well, why? We had 6 months, but educating, I think that's a challenge
Yeah.
because the education is not coming really from the doctors at the
Right.
hospital or
Right.
the nurse, whoever's meeting with them, the social workers. So here, our backgrounds are not in, we're not medical or social workers, but we do see a lot, and we can tell you by just even maybe looking at the resident
Hmm.
and kind of see what their last couple of days has been, and we can say this resident is going to pass away within a few days or a week.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's sometimes it's hard for the family to hear that coming from me or from one of our caretakers that they're not doctors or medical, but it's like it's the reality. And sometimes we have to say it or else you're gonna miss out on that window that they have.
Right.
Yeah. So good.
Cultural piece too, right? Like, I feel like our culture just doesn't allow for the possibility of it happening. It's just like too like it blows people's minds.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And, and having my sister died, and I just remember multiple days of being in the hospital over the course of my lifetime, just being with her, doctors not actually saying, like,
Mhm.
"This is serious." Like, and at the very end, nobody wanted to actually say, "She's on comfort care. This is it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, no. I need you to say it aloud
Sure.
because it's okay. This is a safe place. We are dying. It's okay." But yeah, the medical industry does not like they lost the battle, right? Like, so
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
never went through that. So
Yeah.
educating people that language is being kind of usurped from them because there's power in keeping people in the dark. It's really like it's hard. It's heavy for
Mhm.
you showing up to be like, "No, actually, this is probably a lot sooner than you imagine."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But thank you for doing that.
It's not the easiest. I sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, am I overstepping? But I feel like
No.
90% of the time they're grateful
Yeah.
because then they can call the ones that said, "Oh, we'll be there next week," or "We'll take a flight in a couple weeks to see
Yeah.
them." Hey, you need to come now, and visit with your loved one.
Yeah.
You know, I just had a situation last week with I had 2 weeks ago when I was visiting somebody and, I mentioned to the spouse, like, "Have you heard about hospice yet from anybody?" And there was like, "No, we're not there. We have, 3 weeks away, we're gonna have another operation." It's like, that's not we're not ready for that conversation. Alright, like,
Mm.
'cause I was like, I see the writing on the wall. But then when I got the call, like, 24 hours later saying, "We need to get out of here because they said to go to hospice," I'm like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh."
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what I really appreciated in that moment is that I wasn't afraid of asking that question
Mhm.
to hopefully have seeded that little thought in that person's head saying, I mean, it's coming, but maybe not now, but it did come, and, oh, and I had said, like, hospice a really great opportunity to,
Yeah.
get your breath, not be here
Mhm.
in the grind of
Mhm.
medicaling whatever. But,
Yeah.
I think that's what we have to be brave when it comes and not necessarily being like, "This is happening to you," but it's like, "Maybe sooner than later."
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely,
Ugh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, what you just said about your sister is something that's happened to me, and it's something I'm hoping I can change at 1% a day. You know, my dad's in the hospital, and we're treating him and that sort of thing. Then I read the notes. The
Mhm.
notes say, frail 87-year-old gentleman who is critically ill,
Yeah, they don't tell you.
Yeah.
right? And so you read the notes, and that's what they're thinking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so that's a symptom, but, no pun intended, obviously, but a symptom of this, what we're all talking about here, which is,
Yeah.
the death industry, the hospital and medical industry. I need to go down that rabbit hole now, but it's a real thing, which kind of what I would add to all this is, and I think, Joanna, you touched on it, helping with education, letting people know,
Yeah.
often in people of color communities and underserved, historically,
Mhm.
um, alternatives to hospital care and this idea that we'll be trying to cure until the very last minute is
Mhm.
often foisted on people.
Mhm.
Stay here, don't move. This is the
Right.
best thing. That can go against people's wishes, their culture,
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
thinking, their family. And that's the thing I'm hoping I can change. You don't have to come to Caring House, but just be aware that there can be, often,
Mhm.
not always, but there can be other options than what our doctors and such are telling you. And I have no issue, by the way, when I say that with Western medicine, such as it is. I'm talking
Mhm.
about that step up as we approach death and dying. like you're saying. There needs to be more honesty, more transparency. And I feel that physicians and nurses and stuff should do a bit more of giving those options. Like, now's the time we're going to talk about this. It's
Yeah.
ultimately up to you, of course. But here's some ideas of things you could look into. And I think that'd be great for this community and of not the Southern California community, just our society as a whole compared
Right.
to some others. And I'd like to see that something I'm trying to work for. We do that through educational materials. We do it through in-person things,
Right.
experiential. We try to connect with community leaders, that trusted community leaders, because I understand they don't necessarily have to trust me
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
Caring House or Joanna or anybody else. But if we can talk with their trusted leaders, whether that's in a religious institution, whether it's in a community institution, whether it's in a hospital, great.
Yeah.
I keep saying the words 1% a day. What I try to do is move the needle 1% a day, because every 100 days you've changed something 100%.
Yeah. Great.
And it's only 1% a day. If that's just one phone call to someone,
Mm-hmm.
that's my 1%.
Yeah.
And we can do this bit by bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's such an important noticing, in fact, that there's so many. It's so hard right now. There's so much going on that we wish we could fix, and we can only do 1% a day, or what we can, and basically to set that intention every day. How can I be of service to my
Yes.
community, to my people? Is really all we can do, and we can acknowledge the fear or the despair we feel for what else is going on, but we can't fix those things, and we have to
Right.
be able to be in surrender and acceptance that this is what I can do, is this, and so do that,
Yes.
right? So this really leads to kind of thinking about how you resource yourself. So when this becomes overwhelming, or when you just had a bad day, or it's just been whatever, is there a way that you resource yourself? You take care of yourself? It sounds like you have a wonderful team, which obviously helps. But are there other things that, or maybe that's the biggest part of how you resource yourself? But I'd like to hear from. Maybe we'll start with David and just
Okay.
tell us more about that.
Thank you. What a great question. Wow, because it is so important. I know that for me personally, to use your term of resourcing, which I like, first of all, I will talk with staff. I'll talk, Joanna and I mean, we meet daily on business things, but we will talk about, like, wow, so and so was a difficult resident and was hard on the caregivers and that sort of thing. How are you doing? A big part of what I do for resourcing that helps me is, it does help me at work to know that I'm trying to make the things that are hard on the staff less hard. Things that are hard on residents and their families less hard. That does a lot for me. If I know that I'm working actively to make the situation calmer, more peaceful, easier, more educational, and everything else, then that does a lot for me. And just talking, Joanna's been here a long time, and before, we've mentioned her several times. She was such a gem. It was a devastating loss. We had a woman named Sandra. She was here from day one with Caring House, and had an unexpected cancer diagnosis, and died quickly. It was a horrible thing. But while she was here, I think, Joanna, you would agree, we would resource with her. She always was this calm presence of just, and very loving and empathetic too, but just like helping be there, helping understand. So a lot of personal stuff in the house happens for me personally. And then I do some stuff at home, and I do things like EMDR and other things as necessary to kind of do a little, neural network rewiring
Right.
if it's hard, things like that. Again, not to go off on tangents, but it's very helpful to me.
Yeah.
Excellent report.
know?
Like, what are you doing
Yeah.
to make sure that you can show up tomorrow and help your staff too? Because
Yeah.
it's no light matter, and caregiving is very difficult. And so I always tell people, like, what do you need to do to make sure that you get the rest emotionally, spiritually, physically, to be able to come back tomorrow and do it again?
Yeah.
I can wrap up, and I'll throw it to Joanna. All I can say to that is I try to, this is not the end all, but I try to stay very present at all times.
Yeah.
By doing that, it for me personally, it helps not do so much of the compartmentalizing that makes it hard to break out and starts to fester a little bit and causes that tight feeling in your stomach or the tight feeling in your head. So I try to stay present and just go, I accept what is happening here.
Yeah.
I know that I can't do everything for everyone, but I can try. I'm going to listen more than I talk,
Hmm.
and just stay present as possible, because that's the only way I can be most effective to both the caregivers and to these families
Yeah.
is being
Yeah.
present and listening.
Beautiful.
What about you, Joanna?
Yeah. And Joanna, you mentioned earlier that early on, anyway, you were taking some of this stuff home. So that's another part of this.
Mhm.
How do you, if it does come home,
Yeah.
was you by accident or just because it was so heavy? Yeah.
Mm.
I think for me, that first month was just um, realizing people are dying every day
Hmm.
and death is real. Because I think outside of Caring House, you don't see death unless, an uncle passed away or a grandparent
Hmm.
passes away. It's not an everyday thing. And here it's every day.
Yeah.
Someone's losing someone. So I think that really impacted me. And I took that home and I was scared, like, oh my gosh, my parents are going to die. Someone in my family. Um, I know we've brought out Sandra a few times now, but she's very heavy on me this morning, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I hope I can do this podcast," because she's just very present, and I think I learned from her that, life goes on,
Hmm.
and she was a big presence here at the Caring House and for the team as well. I think, her passing her telling me that, "You need to go back to Caring House," 'cause we talked up during those 3 months that she had from her diagnosis to passing away that, "Oh, I don't think I can do this without you. I'm not going back to Caring House."
Mm.
And no, the mission must continue, and we're here for a purpose, and I've served my purpose, and now, you need to go back,
Ah,
and
sweet.
you need to
Hmm.
and I think that's what's coming here doesn't feel like a job or like work. It's very
Oh.
light.
Mhm.
Like David said, we have a lot of support. I have a lot of support from him. So if I need to take a day off and just stay in bed all day and eat junk food, he's okay with that. He will say, Joanna, stay home. Don't worry about coming in. Um, and we're very supportive of our team as well.
Mhm.
We've been able to get enough funding or you know do a lot of stuff to get funds in. So we're, up until maybe 4 years ago, we were able to provide the staff vacation time.
Mm.
That was really important to me when I came on board, and I'm like, we don't have vacation time." Well, no, it's like we're a nonprofit. They work part time, so they don't get enough hours. And I was like, they need to take a break
Yeah.
from. And so David and the board worked really hard to, put funds for that.
Mm.
And so I'm very flexible with the team. They know if they need a day
Mhm.
off, they can just come in. I'll work their shift so that they can take the day off.
Mm.
Uh, and so I think we make it very light for them as well, so that they know that their health is important as well. And, I tell them, if you're having a bad day and you need a time off, just call me and say, hey, I need a day off. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful.
That's how we care of ourselves. We always get that question. I would say that it doesn't feel heavy.
Mm.
I don't feel it's an honor and a privilege for me to be here and be able to help a little bit.
Yeah.
Those caregivers really are the rock we all stand on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is critical that they get 110% of our support as the two directors there. And like Joanna said, I don't get in Joanna's lane for that. But whatever she needs from me to make sure that they are taken care of, I'm going to move heaven and earth to do. I mean it. And she knows that's true
Yeah.
because they are the face of us. They talk to the families daily, they talk to the residents, and yes, the hands-on care.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, you're literally when you're just rubbing someone's hand when the family can't be there,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So the
Yeah.
caregivers, they are the ones who also we are very attuned to making sure that they are not burning out,
Hmm.
that they are getting some mental respite, like Joanna said, time off. Um, Joanna meets with them on the regular to make sure that, hey, how's morale? Is everything going okay? What can we do to help?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's very important.
I just want to note that Sandra is still a very real part of your lives there. I can just
Mhm.
hear that
Yes.
she is
He's still around.
very very present, and that's what a blessing.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
So one
Yeah.
last item before we leave, but it's what do you wish we'd asked you?
Ooh,
This is like you get one more chance.
Yeah.
yeah. Ooh, Joanna. I mean, I can think of a couple of
I think we
things.
touched all those were all good,
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
because we touched a lot of things that, are important that I think people need to know about hospice and need to know
Yeah.
about death. And so I think you guys asked all the great questions,
Thank
but
you.
thank you.
All I would add to that is, a something that I often think about is where are we going with this? What's the future?
Yeah.
And my answer is overall, I think it's positive. I go to
Mm,
the Omega Home Network, conference each year, and although it's very difficult to start a house like ours, no matter what state you're in, it is happening.
Mm.
It's a very slow growing seed, but it's growing, and I'm positive. I feel positively about how this educational outgrowth, like the throwing a stone in a pond and watching it ripple out. They're really small ripples, but it is
yeah.
incrementally growing.
Good.
Education, knowledge, the actual brick and mortar homes, that sort of thing. And so I'm very pleased on a personal note just to see that not just from us, but New York, Nebraska, you name it,
Mm.
that this world of end of life, of education, thanks to podcasts like yourself, and I really mean that it's just everything you do. You're doing more than 1% a day. I mean, you're doing, I don't know, we don't have to put a number on it, but you're really helping move that needle. And that's
Uh,
really makes me feel positive that,
mm,
every day someone will learn more about this topic of end of life. Maybe they'll learn about what a death doula is,
Hmm.
right? Um, They'll learn simple stuff, even just something as basic as an advanced directive or something like that, end of life, palliative care, you name it.
Yeah.
It's growing, and so I
Good.
feel very positive about the future.
It
yeah.
sounds like Omega House might be a good resource to put on our podcast notes. You did read or quote a beautiful poem earlier, but we could
Yeah.
quote that again. Or do you have anything else you'd like to end us with, a poem or a quote?
I-
I think I like that quote again, though,
Yeah, it
actually.
wouldn't be
It's
bad at all.
like
I'd like to hear that again. Yeah.
okay,
yeah.
sure. It goes like this: The desert is a true treasure for those who seek refuge from men and the evils of men.
Mm.
In it is contentment. In it is death and all you seek.
Mm.
Mm,
Who's the poet?
I saw it written as just a Sufi poet, 12th century.
Oh, could be
I
Rumi.
originally saw it in a story
Rumi or
in
Hafiz?
National Geographic
Oh,
many
wow.
years
Wow.
ago.
I'm sure we
Yeah.
can. I'm
Oh,
sure we can find it.
So,
Google it,
There's
right?
so many
yeah.
wonderful poets from that era. So
Yeah.
yeah. Joanna, did
So,
you have anything else you'd like to quote or say or share?
Mm, that's all. Thank you so much for having us here.
All right. Pleasure. A very big, deep pleasure. Thank you
thank you
again
very
so
much.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you
so
both.
much.
All right.
Inspirational. I love hearing the things you have to say and feeling your energy and just knowing how much it means to both of you. And I mean, if and this can be edited out, but what drives you guys? I mean, I love to get that same energy from those who are also moving the needle. What is, what drives you, every day to do this and such? I'd love to hear that.
Well, we were just we just did a podcast.
Yeah, we
Somebody just asked
interviewed.
us to do a podcast with them as guests, and we talked a lot about, so we're kind of freshly thinking about this. We met in seminary, and
Mm,
we had lots of conversations, and most of them were around end of life because both of us were
mhm,
working as hospice or end of life care.
Mhm.
mhm.
And at one point, Ana Luisa said, "We should do a podcast."
Yeah.
And so, really,
Love
I
it.
think what motivates us
Love it.
is exactly what you said. This we understand or recognize how important it is to destigmatize the
Uh-huh.
conversation around death and dying and loss of all
Yeah.
kinds, and
Mhm.
the hospice and those things, and just to let people know that this is important and that you're not giving up or failing because you ask for help,
Mm,
all those things. What do you think, Ana
mhm,
Luisa?
I think that's exactly right, and I think that I have been in the death realm since I was a little kid.
mm,
I actually I see death every day.
mm.
Every single day, I'm like, "Oh, there's a death," and I've been known to pull over on the side of the road and bury animals when I see them, 'cause I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is not okay."
Yeah.
So I really am delighted and, comfortable with death, and so, I raise my kids with lots of death dying talks all the
Mm.
just like, "Uh-huh, mama, I know, I know." Um, it is, um it is so sweet and such a mystery, and I have a love affair because I'm also excited to go to the other side. And so for me, it's like it's almost like being, like, so enchanted that I wanna share this amazingness with somebody else, but then you hit the wall of the culture of this land, and it's like fear and like, you know, cognitive dissonance around we're not gonna die.
Right.
We're gonna like upload it to neural links and never let go. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. So
Yeah.
I think that for me, the big push too is just, and I say this so many times, but I don't get asked out to dinner parties as much anymore because I will always talk about F9 and white supremacy. Like I'm like, hey, so what do you think about this?
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Right. Right.
so I think that I believe that Wakila and I are disruptors, and we need to disrupt this like
Mhm.
ridiculous notion that there is no death,
Mhm.
and we're very comfortable, and I think we're sweethearts about it.
Yeah, we have
So
fun.
people are like, "Come on!" I know we have lots of fun. So yeah,
Yeah, you feel very comfortable about it. I think that's lovely. And like you said, like, are you looking forward to the other side? And I'm sorry to sort of reference a film which, inherently is created and made up stuff. But in the movie Soul,
Mhm.
I really keyed into that scene early on where there's like this escalator going up to this light, and the main character's like, "Wait, aren't you scared? Why are you going up there?" And it was like basically a little old lady. I'm not saying that to be insulting. It's this little lady, and she's like, "No, I've been looking forward to this. I can't wait to go up there." And she's all
totally.
smiling, and she's going up, and that meant something to me, right? To people like
Yeah,
us, and hopefully to more people. They're like, "Hey, no matter what your personal belief is, there's something,
yeah,
taking the next step into that is something maybe to think about as an adventure
yeah.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something to look
exactly.
forward to."
Well, and I find that if people are really upset by that notion that there is something on the other side, which some people are, they're
Uh,
terrified that
Mhm.
mhm,
either there's God who's going to castigate them or there's just some, like, wickedness that they're just, like,
mm,
terrified.
mm.
And then there's the atheists who are like, "I'm just gonna go to sleep and it's over." And I'm like, "Well, that's sweet too." Like, I'm tired. I could if it's nothing other than sleep, bring it, you know?
Mhm,
Could use some of
That's
mhm.
I think, like, Martha Graham said, like, "You get to sleep when you die." And I'm like, "Yes, please."
that.
Do you remember that great line from, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, where written on a tombstone it said, or something along the lines, but basically on the tombstone it said, "Cosmos Mariner, destination unknown."
Yeah, I read that book. I
You
remember
remember
that.
that? And they did like a paragraph or 2 just on that because the character was reading it, and I remember that too, "Cosmos Mariner, destination unknown," and I just thought,
God,
that that's it,
Yeah.
you
that makes
know?
me come alive. I have
Mhm.
like, you have no idea. I'm always like and my kids, I have a 16 and 19-year-old, and they're like, "God, like, are you a little too excited about this, mom? Like, not, like, tap out too soon." And uh, I'm
Tap
like,
out.
I won't tap out, but,
Yeah.
well, we'll have to cut this out too, but recently I had, like, a little bit of a health
Mm.
surprise,
Mhm.
and my kids had a conversation, and later they came to t and I'm fine 100%,
Good.
everything's great.
Yeah, good.
But my daughter was like, "Yeah." Sol is my son's name.
Mm.
Sol came over and she's like, "Is mom gonna try to raw dog cancer?" 'Cause they're like, "She's not gonna wanna get treated because she's excited to die."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that just shows you how open your kids are to talking with you about these things too,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
Yeah.
know? Yeah, with some humor,
yeah.
right? So,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, no, they're
Mhm.
actually, I just went and helped my friend with her passing yesterday, and I came home and I was like, Lucero is my daughter. I have to tell you something else that I wanna have you remember because this is important."
Mm.
And she's like, "Okay, okay."
Ah,
Write
here we
it
go
down.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here we go again. But yeah, this is a very death-centered home. It really is. Like,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about us
Mhm.
is about acknowledging the small deaths. Like,
Mm.
Wakil and I always talk about even this our breath as it exhale like, as
Mm.
we exhale is a small death.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I just love that, and I feel like I hope this emanates out into my community. I know it does because people and I mean, I've got, like, 3 people out of nowhere who wanna come talk about death doulas with me.
Oh, yeah.
Another death
Mhm.
doula.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, so we're called to do this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My BFF.
Very nice. So glad you do it. Thank you so
Yeah, yeah,
much. And you too, David.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys for being with us and
Yes,
sharing about this incredible work. And I'm glad to hear it's
yes,
spreading out and the ripples are there. So,
Yes.
yes. And if
Thank
I'm ever
you.
in California, which I don't like to be because of that traffic, yeah, I'm gonna
Please
tap on your door
do.
yeah, yeah.
Please.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
when
wow.
I'm in Seattle and it's not that much better anymore. I
Oh, yeah. I used to live in Gig Harbor, by the way,
Okay.
just down by Tacoma there,
Yeah.
so I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten much
Mhm.
worse. So, all
Has
right.
it? Okay.
Well, we'll say goodbye to you. Thank you so much again.
Adios. Thank you. Thank
Thank you so much. Have a lovely time.
Thank you for joining us today. Please stick around after the credits for our afterthoughts, and it helps our numbers if you stay until the end. We want to thank my children, Nate, Vivian, Nina, and her fiance Asher, for the excellent opening song, and a special thanks to our awesome editor, Sam Zemke, who is also a guest on our podcast. You can listen to him on Season 4, Episode 5. Also, thank you to Charles Heaston, the composer of the original music you are listening to now.
And of course, thanks to you, our audience, and all of our amazing guests. Please come back next week for another great episode. Share this with your friends, family, and community. We hope you will subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. Each guest's additional information will be found in the podcast notes. And of course, if you have a good end-of-life story to share, please reach out. We are always eager to hear from you.
Woohoo!
I mean, this is a new one for us.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
nonprofit hospice center, like, that is
What a
super cool.
cool idea. And I guess this Omega House, we'll have to check that out. It sounds like there are others around. We'd like to know. We want to know how many of those are there? Where are they? Just not
Yeah,
necessarily like it's not really hospice. It's sort of like hospice plus, and yeah,
concierge,
it's like
like, it's
people, hospice
concierge.
people will come into there and make that. I love that. And
Yeah,
yes, it's so, what an exciting, wonderful add on to all the things we've heard about.
it really is, and you know what I also love about it is a small setting, so it doesn't feel industrial
Yeah.
and mechanized, and it feels very like, I know that one of the traumas I suspect that people might experience without actually being able to name it is it's like there are unknown faces and, a turnover of a lot of
Yeah.
people at a
Yeah.
still for-profit death place, right? And this sounds like of a cadre of humans who love being together and love supporting others. I'm like, "That's great."
Yeah, how cool is that? Talk about the ripple effect. I can just imagine the energy ripple effect that just that house is emanating, that love,
Really.
love and care and compassion. And oh my God, how wonderful is that? So
Yeah. So, anyhow,
yeah,
so
yeah,
delighted to have met you.
me too.